My name is Jess, and this is the second episode of the Knitting on Sweater Avenue knitting podcast. I come to you from Melbourne, Australia, and yeah, I'm really excited to film the second one. The first one, there were a lot more views than I was expecting. I really had very low expectations, so thank you to everyone who watched that one. And then, yeah, it's been about 3 weeks, so I was very confident that I wouldn't have enough to film a whole nother knitting podcast. Like, lots of the people that I watch seem to be able to knit much faster than I can. But I think as a result of having a holiday last week, I had a fair bit of time to knit. So I thought I had enough progress and enough projects that I thought I may as well film another knitting podcast, and then maybe next week or the week after I'll film a yarn stash tour, because I thought that could be quite fun. I don't have very much yarn, but it could be fun and a bit exciting. So I thought I would start by talking about what I'm wearing, although I think I'm going to take it off because it's a bit warm. But this is a dark green cardigan that I knit using an app called Bellish, that I think doesn't exist anymore. It is knitted in yarn from Spotlight, which is a yarn store here in Australia that I have absolutely no idea anything about it. I knit it about 2 or 3 years ago. The actual cardigan part is super weird and I never wear it. Like, I didn't even add buttons. I'm not really a cardigan buttoner anyway, but I sort of just fold the front of it away and pretend it's not there. But yeah, it's got sort of nice big sleeves and it's cropped, and it has a cute little pocket that I knit. I think I followed a Well Loved Knits tutorial. She knit a whole green cardigan, and I had this yarn. I think I was initially intending to like crochet a sweater, but I think I decided to do this instead because she inspired me. But yeah, this was about 3 or 4 years ago. But I am going to take it off because it's actually a bit hot. And then I will jump straight into my finished objects. I have 2. The first one, I have to admit, it's a little gross because I was wearing it today. I'm going to put it back on after this because I'm currently only wearing 1 sock. But it is the socks that I finished for it's a fibresmith yarn with contrast heels, toe and cuff. I'm not going to take it too close because it is covered in lint, but I've got that one and I'm wearing the other one, and so that's finished. I followed the Crazy Sock Lady tutorial. I used a 64 stitch count on a 2.25mm needle. I think it's about 60 rounds on the cuff, and I did a 10 row 1x1 rib. Sorry, 60 rows on the leg, but I did a 10 row 1x1 rib cuff. So yeah, that's that sock, and I'm wearing the other one, and yeah, I really like it. Compared to my spruce socks that I finished a few weeks ago, I think they're definitely more comfortable on the much smaller needle, so I'm excited about that. And then yeah, it's very comfortable. I've already felted the back heel. I don't know if you want to see that, so I might not show you, because I was wearing them with my boots when I was on holidays last week, and clearly my boots rubbed a bit, but I'm gonna put it back on because it feels weird to wear 1 sock. But yeah, I really like the fit, and then yeah, very comfortable. My second finished object is the sweater number 15 by My Favorite Things Knitwear that I've finished, except for I haven't blocked it or weaved in the ends, but it's finished. It's got 2 sleeves, which are quite long, and a cuff, the neckband, which I've added a little bit of elastic to just to keep it together, and I think it looks really cute. I used the Knitting for Olive merino and soft silk mohair in the color Dusty Artichoke. I haven't weighed it yet, but I have 1 bowl of one and about half bowls of merino left. Where is it here? I have 1 full bowl and this much left of a bowl left, and I've got 2 full bowls of mohair and then 1 half bowl. So, and I think I would have bought the amount it said for the pattern. So I knit a size small, but I made a lot of alterations. So I reduced the number of purl stitches, I think I mentioned this last time, between the cables. And so then I reduced the number. So like, for example, then when I was adding more here, I reduced the number of stitches. I increased down here so that I would have one less purl stitch. I think I picked up then more stitches around the armhole, and then I decreased all the way down the arm, which looks okay. I think I got better as I went. So, and I used safety pins, I think, as I mentioned last time, to sort of keep a better eye on, sorry, to make sure the sleeves were matching. But so if you sort of look here, it sort of merges down into one, and then I think I did a better job for the second one, so it sort of goes down and then it turns into that one. And so that's the same on both sleeves. I then chose to do a 2x2 rib cuff. So I did that on the cuff, on the neckline and on the bottom, which I really like. With the neck, I did 10 rows of 2x2 rib, and then I did 1 row of pearls, and then another 10 rows of 2x2 rib, and then I sort of cast off pretty loosely and added an elastic. Yeah, I really like it. I will put in a picture, hopefully, of me wearing it, and I'm hoping to block it. So I think, oh yeah, so the other thing I did was I increased the number of cables. The pattern recommended, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say without, I think you can see how many people have done, but I think the pattern recommended 11 and I did 14 cables. And that's partly because I'm planning to stretch it a little bit width-wise when I block it, so I think it'll decrease the length, but that still fits me pretty well. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to mention, but yeah, very happy with that. Oh, back on the sock, actually, I forgot to say this. I just used a long tail cast on when I knit the socks, and I knit them cuff down. So, and I'm finding that they're a bit tight to get like onto my foot. So if anyone has any suggestions of a more stretchy cast on for socks, I'm down to try one. I think there's a Norwegian one that I might try, but sort of, yeah, that was about socks, because I was just remembered that. I really should write down notes. Anyway, those are my 2 finished objects. And then I have a couple of works in progress, or whips. So I'll start with the ones that I talked about last time, so that you can see how I'm going. So this is the first one. This is the Camisole number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and mine is in kind of a weird thing right now. So I'm using a fibresmith yarn, hand-dyed yarn, and I've knit through 1 whole skein. But I'm currently knitting the neck, so that's why I've got needles up here. So I knit through 1 whole skein on the body, which I think looks it's very hard to show without undoing the neck stitches. And then I've just sort of left that with the remaining yarn just hanging. And then I've picked up with the next ball, I've picked up around the neck, and I'm going to do the neck hole and the armhole edges, and then we'll finish the body. I saw a couple of other people do that. I thought it seemed like a nice way to sort of kind of mix up what you're doing, rather than just knitting in the round on stockinette all the time. But I really like the way the material is sort of coming up. So yeah, this yarn is Fibresmith. There you go. Did I save? Yeah, it is the Fibresmith Lemonade 4-ply merino, which is a 100% superwash extra fine Australian merino in a 4-ply or fingering, 100 grams per skein, and is approximately 400 meters. And I got 2 skeins, and it is in the color burnt terracotta, which looks like this in the ball. So I think it's really nice. It's like a rusty red color, which I think is cool. So yeah, that's my first whip. My next one, I think I've made exactly 0 progress on this, so I might just go over it quickly. And it is the Petite knit Elizabeth blouse in a Not We Are Knitters Wool in the Gang Sugar Baby Alpaca. And yeah, I think I've made no progress. Maybe I've done 1 row. I didn't take this one on holiday, so it did not get a lot of attention. But I do really like the colour, and I'm excited for it to be finished. So yeah, I think I've attached the next ball. Yeah. I attached my next ball, which is hand wound from undoing my last jumper, as I mentioned last time. But yeah, that's going well. And then, do I need the others? I don't think so. So, okay, so this is, I didn't talk about this last time because I hadn't done any work on it. And then I properly picked it up and started working on it. And it is my Monday sweater by Petite Knit, which I'm making in a size small. Oh, I don't think I've mentioned this. I'll put my measurements at the bottom of the description. So it's in a size small, and it's I'm knitting it in drops. I think it's the drops super fine baby merino or something, and the drops kid silk in this like silvery grey color. And I don't know what the name of the color is, but I will find out and put it in the description. So yeah, I think I'm about halfway through the yoke, so just sort of, it's a bit hard to show, but it's just sort of going like this. I think it looks really cute. I really like this color. Sort of bought this yarn on a whim. Do I really like drops? I quite like drops. It's one of those things where it's like, it's a much cheaper alternative, and I actually don't mind the yarn, the ones that I've tried so far. So I quite like that, and I like this color. But yeah, so you start with the collar, which I've never done before, which is quite cool, and then you just sort of move into the raglan yoke. And yeah, I think I've got about 20 more rows on the yoke. But I'm pretty happy with how my increases are looking, and it's, yeah, I don't mind knitting it, so enjoying working on that. And then this one, I talked about this last week as one of my proudest finished objects. And then I was talking to my mum, and she was talking about how she's gotten really good at undoing parts of a sweater that like isn't really working. So like you just sort of like, if the sleeve is too short, she'll just cut it and knit down to make it the right length. And we were talking about how she was doing that with another sweater. And I decided that my Maud T hack was too long. I've known it for a while, but I decided to fix it. So I have ripped it back to the last brownie stripe, and I'm just, before I had a white, like another white chunk, and then the white ribbing, and I am going to shift it, so sort of like the sleeve. I had the beige stripe, and then I had some white, and then I did the ribbing, and I'm going to go straight into the ribbing. And I've done 2 rows. So I started doing this yesterday because I cast off the green one, and I sort of wanted to work on it. And I think it's going to go well, because yeah, the problem, it was just a little bit long, and I just felt like, I was watching someone recently, I can't remember her name, but she was just saying like it's just a little bit long, and so maybe it doesn't look frumpy, but it makes me feel frumpy. And so I sort of thought that just decreasing the length by, it's about, I guess, 2 inches. I think that'll just like decrease it up a bit, because it blocked a bit wider than I expected it to. But yeah, so that's that one. Oh yeah, sorry. So that is in, oops, losing the ball. This is in a drops cotton merino, which I really like. Like, I think I'm gonna order some more and make a sweater, another one, because it's just sort of like it's a lighter weight sweater, but it's got a bit of weight to it, but it's not merino, so it's sort of better for spring and autumn evenings. But yeah, and it's the Maud. It's a hack of the Maud T, but if anyone wanted to knit it, I would say knit the Elizabeth blouse, because then she actually has the like sleeve pattern and stuff. But yeah, the beige stripes are 5 rows wide, and then in between is 12 rows of white. So that's that. What else have I not talked about? Oh yeah, so I've got 2 new cast-ons. One of them, there's a lot more work on the other, so we'll start with that one. So once I cast off my green socks, I immediately cast on these little socks. So this is, I've been working these 2 at a time, and I made these little bags. It's honestly just a square with a little drawstring, and it's because I've been putting the ball of yarn in there and the project, because in my sock bag they were just getting tangled, because I have the 2 balls for the individual colors, and then I also have the they've got a kind of contrast toe, heel and cuff. So this is like a weird yarn, which I think, oh, I've dropped it now. I think the yarn it was like a gradient all the way down the yarn. It's a sock yarn. I kept the tag. I did keep the tag. It is the Fiore Gradient Sock. Okay, I think maybe I was meant to buy two, but I didn't. So it's 80% merino, 20% nylon, machine washable. It's a 50-gram skein, which will become relevant in a second, which gives you 200 meters, and then it suggests a 2.75 to a 3.25 needle. So as a result, I'm using a 2.5 needle for this one, and I am knitting it toe up because I didn't think I have enough yarn. So I've got toes of each of them. And because I don't have two sets of needles, but I did, so this is one of my acquisitions. I bought the 2.5 millimeter Chiaogoo shorty set. And so this is, I'm knitting onto the 2.5 from the 2.25 for both of them, which I think should be fine. So I've got sort of toe of that one and the toe of this one. And I think they're going to be sisters, not twins. Obviously, they're completely different colors, even though it comes from the same ball. But I guess the heel of one will like the cuff of one will look like the cuff of the other. But yeah, so I've never knit a toe up sock, and I didn't want to buy a pattern. I don't really know why. So I'm just following some online YouTube videos on how to knit that. Oh, I hope you can't hear that. That's the washing machine. So just following some online videos, and I really like how the actual toe is looking. I did sort of, the toe goes to here, and then I did 10 rows. Oh, and the contrast color is the Lang Yarns Yawol Superwash. Which looks like this. It's 50 grams, 210 meters, 75% virgin wool, 25%. Oh, polyamide, which is nylon. I'm guessing everyone else knew that. I didn't know that. So yeah, 25% nylon. So they're slightly different, but it seems fine to me so far. And I think it matches well enough. So sort of, that's where it switches. And then I think it looks cute. I think it's cute. And I think it'll just gradient up, which I'm happy with. So yeah, so those are those two socks. I'm just going to chuck into my knitting bag and fix up the fact that they're now desperately tangled later. And my last work in progress is this. So this is the very beginnings of the casual top by Naked Knit. And I'm sorry about the washing machine. So I have done very little. So I cast onto a cable. So let me see if I can. So I've got the cable is here. So I cast onto the cable, and then I've knit up to here, and I think I'm gonna knit. So this is on 2.25 needles, and I'm gonna knit 2 centimeters, and then do a purl row, and then move to 2.5 millimeter needles to do the folded hem, and then I'll knit another 2 centimeters and then knit it together with what's on the cable. I don't know if that made sense, but it's a provisional cast on, and it's been a little bit of a drama. So I've ended up using one of my bulb stitch markers to block off the ends of my spare cable, because I didn't have any end stoppers for my because these are the Chiaogoos. And at one point I was knitting around, and I realized I just knit this off the end, because it sort of slips around as you're knitting on the other cable, and it was gone. I'd lost about 25 stitches. I was able to pick them all up, and it seems to have been fine, but that made me panic a little bit. So I decided to put these on, and I decided to buy some end stoppers, which I now have, but I haven't put on yet out of laziness, and because I haven't been working on this. But yeah, so this is, I think it looks really nice, and it's so soft, because this is, this is the Knitting for Olive cashmere. in navy, and that's probably a bit bluer than that, but that's the color, and I think it's beautiful, and it's so soft, and I'm very excited about it. So that is my last work in progress. I hope. It's too many. It is too many, but you know, you just get a case of castonitis, and then what are you going to do? So last but not least, I have a few acquisitions. Not any yarn, although I have ordered some yarn, but it's not here yet. Not mostly. It's not here yet because it's coming from internationally, and also because I've ordered some yarn to knit a project with my friend, and it's going to her house, and then she'll get it to me, and some yarn because I just split the shipping with my mum. So I've got some more yarn coming. I'm very excited. I've got some yarn to knit my boyfriend a Moby sweater. So we're ignoring the sweater curse, which is obviously nonsense anyway, but at one point it caused me stress, and I've just decided I really want to knit him a sweater. I think it would look really nice, and I feel like he'd appreciate it, and I think I would enjoy knitting it, because I can't just keep knitting myself sweaters, because you have to draw the line somewhere. I haven't drawn it yet. In the order for the sweater for him, I've got some yarn for myself, but yeah, that's from, so what have I've got, that's some Sandnes Garn yarn. I've got him some Peer Gynt in like a nice blue color, and I'm getting myself some Double Sunday and Tin Silk Mohair in a dark green. I do really like green, as you could tell from this and a couple of my finished objects. And then I'm getting just some mohair from Knitting for Olive with my friend, because I've got some bright orange alpaca yarn that I want something to hold with, that I'll go into at another point, but it's sort of, I accidentally bought it. It's the wrong color, because this is in the color earthy orange, my Elizabeth, and I screwed up, and I didn't have enough when I initially knit, like the first jumper. I didn't have enough, and so I ordered this other yarn. I'm gonna go get it, 1 second. So I ordered this, and it's rusty orange, and I didn't order it from Wool and the Gang, so I just assumed, a bit rude, but I just assumed that whatever company I'd ordered it from, no idea, some random one, had just like renamed them, or like, you know how sometimes they have color names and sometimes they have numbers? Well, they have color names, and I thought rusty orange, earthy orange, probably the same. Not the same at all. Like, look at this. So it arrived and I panicked, but I didn't return it. So I have 4 balls of this, and we're gonna knit matching, well, not matching, but we're both gonna knit like a V-neck slip over. So, oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what is coming. And I'm excited for that, because I feel like a slip over will be fun and fresh, and I'm excited about it. But my actual acquisitions, it's just needles. It's like needle and needle related paraphernalia. So I got a bunch of Chiaogoo needles and stuff. So I got a set of the twist short combo in 2mm. Now I feel like a doofus, because this is now the 3rd twist short combo I've gotten. I initially got the 2.25 to knit socks, and I use it to knit socks, and then I got the 2.5 also to knit socks, but so that's like the one I'm using now, but also to knit the casual top by Naked Knit. And when I bought the first one, I was like, I'm not going to buy the kit or the set, because they have a set which goes from 2 to 3, I think. And I was like, I'm not going to buy the set. It's like $130, $140 Australian. I'll just buy this one and it'll be fine. And they're like $30 to $40 each, I think, these ones. And I've now bought 3. So including shipping, I've definitely spent more, and I should have just initially bought the set. But you live and you learn. I don't know. I really like them. Anyway, so I got the 2mm in the Chiaogoo, and so that comes in the 5 and 8 centimeter lengths, which is really good. So yeah, this is the 2mm, and I'm currently using them on the neck of my camisole number 9. So that's that. I also got the twist lace tips in 3.5 and 4mm. I've already used them because I used the 3.5s to knit the cuff of this. So yeah, I used a 4.5 and a 3.5, and I already had the 4.5 needle, so I just got the 3.5. And so as a result, I got another set of the interchangeable adapters, because these have a different screw top, so then I needed the adapter so I could use all of my cables that I have. So I could, because at the moment I only have one type of cable, and so this means I can continue using the same cable with these different sizes. And so I got the 3.5 and the 4 because my Monday sweater is on a 4mm and my Elizabeth blouse is on a 3.5. So I figured I'd also be able to use that there. And it means I can just knit the sleeves in the round rather than using magic loop, which I'm not opposed to magic loop, but I quite like just knitting in the round. So looking forward to that. So yeah, I got the cable connector, and then I got a set of cable connectors, which genuinely is this. This feels like, just like, that's a choking hazard for a human. Like, it's so small. I don't know how to, it's like there's those tiny little things there. But obviously they're connecting the mini cables together, and I've already used that. It's very handy for trying things on because I don't have those like knitting barber cords. So this means that I can connect cables together and then try it on and then disconnect the cables. And it seems like, I don't know, that's what I've been using. I'm open to the idea of knitting barber cords, but this is just like a very easy option. And then, as I mentioned, I got some end stoppers because I already lost all those stitches on the casual top by Naked Knit, and I was just not going to do that again because it's like a little bit stressful. You can save them, but like it's just like an added level of stress. And then if you need to go, because I am always knitting when I need to leave, then this means that you can sort of not have to worry. And then the last thing I got was a 20cm cable, which I must be using because it's not in here. Oh yeah, the 20cm cable. That's what I'm doing the neck on. This one. It's on here somewhere. And this has been a really interesting ride. I realize I'm sort of jumping around a bit. Apologies. That's sort of how my brain works. But this is interesting because you pick up on the wrong side, which was harder than I expected. But I'm enjoying it. I'm excited to have it finished. Yeah, so that is all I have to talk about. So I filmed this yesterday and I was editing it this morning, and I realized my washing machine really did sound like it was taking off, particularly in the part that I've now cut out and I'm refilming. So, which is just the outro, which is fine. Yeah, so the general gist is that I'm hoping to film another one of these in 2 or 3 weeks, depending on how I go with all of my various knitting projects. But it also a bit depends on how busy I am, but we'll see. But if I haven't made a lot of progress, then I might just film a stash tour, because although at the moment I have quite a small stash, I'm expecting it to grow with those 2 sweater quantities of yarn that I'm coming in, which I have definite plans to knit, so they will go out again, but sort of it's a lot easier to buy yarn than it is to knit it up. Well, not easier, but like it's a lot quicker. So yeah, so that's thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope the sound was better. I know there was a few people who thought the sound was a bit too quiet last week, so I'm trying something new this week. Let me know if that helps. And also I hope the washing machine in a few clips earlier is okay. This one was really bad, but I thought hopefully those ones would be okay. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.